All right. So this is a six pack of
All
questions.
right, let's do it.
All right. Six sort of rapid fire questions that probably won't be rapid fire.
Okay.
When you're down, what do you do to feel better?
Workout.
Yeah. It's like, okay, this is, I'm going to out myself. I don't have to out you. Have you ever like had like kind of a really shitty day, maybe get in an argument with your wife, or maybe something bad happens, you go work out and you start crying during a workout?
That hasn't happened.
Just me.
No.
But like, I have found like sometimes like working through stuff,
Yeah.
working out like helps me work through things.
Yeah. I'll put on a pair of shoes and just go run.
What
And
do you listen to when you run?
I don't.
You don't have no headphones?
I'm not a music guy. Like, and I don't know who I listened to or who kind of brought it. I was when I got into running hardcore, I read a book called God dang, Born to Run. And it's a great book. It's about this this group of Indians that are in like Central America, that's their whole life. They just run and they run bare feet. That's where the barefoot movement came from.
Right.
It's from this book. But one of the runners, like in a commentary in the book, talked about like if you're running, when you listen to music, it affects your rhythm of running and you're out of tune with your body because you're not listening to your breathing and the rhythm of your body. And it kind of affects you in a way. And so I just tried it. Like short runs, I might put on some motivational music, but if I know I'm going like on a 6 to 10 mile run, there's no music. It's just
I hate that you're right. I hate that you're right.
What it does, it's meditative. Like
yeah. Well, and hearing the outside and the birds and the environment and all that stuff, and then you're like you said, like music, like it has different beats, so it fucks with you, right?
It fucks with you, and there's nothing better to me than like a 5 a.m. nobody else in the world around, sun coming up, birds chirping, run. That to me is, that's euphoria right there.
It kind of reminds me of like football practice in high school.
Smell the grass.
You get up early,
do on the field.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Yeah.
And you're like, I'm going to hit and I'm going to slide all over the place.
That's right.
What's the most beautiful place you've ever seen?
Turks and Caicos.
Yeah, Turks and Caicos. I'm just going to go ahead and go on to the next question. There's not.
Hold on. I'm going to give you a two-part on that. Because I think they're two different entities. Turks and Caicos, Yosemite Valley.
But it's two different extremes,
Two different
right?
extreme, but I would have never thought I would say Yosemite Valley until we recently visited, and there's a thing called the tunnel view. You come out of this tunnel, and it opens up to the valley, and there's a river that runs through the valley, and there's 3 waterfalls. There's El Capitan, there's Half Dome. It is awe-inspiring, and I read stuff about it going into it, like Teddy Roosevelt talking about like this is why we want to preserve this area of land. And, you're like, all right, that's from the 1900s. They haven't seen the shit I've seen. But it still holds true to this day. You cannot be awe-inspired seeing that and not feel like just so small.
It's like, when you see all those pictures from Arizona, they got all those stacked rocks and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, I've never been to go see it, but I can almost guarantee, like, how can you not be there and just be in awe?
So what national parks have you been to? Have you been to Zion in Utah?
No.
Okay. We did that 2 years ago. Went to Zion, went to Moab, went to Canyonlands. Like, that has been probably the greatest surprise for me. Like, we had this proposal in our family, like, we're going to do a beach one year and we're going to do a national park the next. And I was like, national park? I mean, that's so boring. Why do we want to go there?
Yeah.
But we did Yellowstone one year, blown away. Then we did Zion and Bryce Canyon and all that in Utah, blown away. And then we did, just recently, we did Sequoia and Yosemite, same deal. And those have stuck in my head more than a lot of the beaches that I've been to.
Well, I mean, the earth is just like awe-inspiring. You know what I mean? Like you don't really, unless you've gone to see shit that's like awe-inspiring, you don't realize like how magnificent this place is. You know what I mean?
Really, and nature in general. And then the foresight of people like Teddy Roosevelt and John Muir and a lot of those conservationists to say like, we're going to reserve this land, nobody's going to develop it. This is, you know, for just for viewing purposes only. And that's held true to our generation. Like, it is unbelievable that exists still in this thing where people are trying to develop every single piece of real estate and every piece of land in America. Like the fact that that still exists, like, you know, almost feel like I got to see it before it's not here anymore.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I probably should have picked a different question. Which of your ancestors would you like to meet most? You go back to the original Horny and go, what the fuck, man?
No. I'd like to meet on the Albright side. You know, my mom's side. There's a lineage. I think it's Alonzo was his name, Alonzo Albright. So he came over from Germany, and they bought a bunch of land in DeWitt County, and there was a bunch of grandchildren that the land kind of got divided up to. We still have a parcel of that, which is a ranch down there, but I've always been interested in that lineage, like of how the land got divided up, and then just their experience coming over and how they got the land and all that. I'm really interested in the ancestry of our family. You know, the Horny and McGill side is also interesting as well, but I think I would pinpoint it to the Albright side. I'd like to meet that guy because he seemed pretty impressive. You
think your great grandfather on the Horny side got teased for his name?
I'm wondering, like you know, what's funny is like I think it's in Wayne's World 2 where he hooks up with Kim Basinger and her name is Honey Horny. Like I feel like it was pronounced Horny in France.
That's what you see the whole time you're in high school. You just should have pronounced it Horny.
Well, I always joke that it is, but I wonder if like what came first, like the term horny as a sexual term, or this guy was like a sexual deviant that name became synonymous with that. Like, do I have a sexual predator in my
in your family
background
here
that led to that last name? You know, I don't know.
We're gonna say no.
I hope that's the case.
All right, so I'm going to kind of rephrase this question. I'm just going to phrase it like this. What do you miss about Goliad the most? The actual question is, what would you miss about home if you moved? But what do you miss about Goliad the most besides Dairy Queen? Like,
I don't miss Dairy Queen. I mean,
you miss Whataburger? Well, you don't miss Whataburger anymore.
You know what I miss? Impresario Restaurant.
Oh, that place was a tits.
Yeah, and there was an entree there called the Breast Delight, and it was a chicken with cheddar cheese, bacon on this type of bread that was unbelievable, and it was the best sandwich. Like, and actually, the lady that was the chef at the Impresario, she opened up a place on the square and she serves it. So when I go back home, I go and get it. But that's the thing I miss the most.
Fancy.
Probably.
That place was good.
Yeah, it was awesome.
All right. What one question would you ask a psychic about your future?
Damn, that's a good one. I think the future's dangerous. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't want to know too much.
I would fear it would alter how I live. Like, to know what your future is. I think I would want to know how I die.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a bonus question right now.
Okay.
You know, what was that guy's name that was a Black Panther that passed away of cancer and he didn't tell nobody?
I can't pronounce it.
Whatever his name is,
yeah.
that guy.
Yeah.
If you got cancer, would you tell everybody or would you keep it a secret?
Keep it a secret.
Yeah, but is that dick to keep it a secret?
Like, I just don't want the sympathy.
I don't want anybody to change the way they treat me.
That's the thing. Like,
I want them, like, this kind of sounds shitty.
It's almost like, do you want to fade away or do you want to burn out? Or do you want to just end it?
It's more like this. It's like, if I have to tell you that I have cancer for you to want to get engaged in my life.
Exactly.
I mean, come on, man. Like, you should already be engaged in my life. I shouldn't have to tell you I have cancer to get you want to fucking be part of my life.
Like, and selfishly, I think, and maybe it is selfish, you want to enjoy people from your perspective and not have them pity you. Like, you know your time is coming to an end. So you want to savor every minute of that and enjoy your relationship with that person and not have them look at you with pity, you know, because that kind of sours it. You know, like, I don't want my daughters to see me in a different light before I pass away. I just want to go and not and have them grieve at that point, but not have them grieve for 6 months knowing I'm going to die, you know?
It's weird to the thought that like people would be mad at you after you're dead.
I wouldn't be,
I wouldn't be mad, but I'm
yeah.
saying like I could see how some people in my life might be like, why didn't he be upset about it? I'm like,
Yeah.
well, like, exactly all the things we're talking about.
Yeah. Like I would, I mean, obviously I would change, and it shouldn't, you know, you talk about like, you should live every day like it's your last. I mean, it would change how you live. You'd want to travel more. You'd want to experience things more. You'd want to kind of compact everything into a short amount of time, but I wouldn't want people to know about it, you know?
It's weird. Like, kind of probably like me getting divorced was kind of like a semi-death. Like it was a death. And so now like I'm trying to like maximize like every day, like as if like this sounds like really shitty sometimes, but like when I look at my daughter, I think about like, oh man, if something happened to her, am I trying to live as much with her as I possibly can for the thing that if an accident happened, I won't feel like I was robbed of time. You know what I mean? Am I maximizing my time with her as much as I can?
That's what I fear the most. Like when I fear death, it's not my death that I fear. It's my time with my loved ones. Like, am I spending enough? There's a song that I can hear that cuts to the core every time I hear it. And it's Garth Brooks, If Tomorrow Never Comes. I'm telling you, when that song comes on.
If that ain't more of Goliad and Victoria, boy.
It is. I'm telling you, because you do like, you're like, I don't want to leave this world without my daughters knowing how much I love them, and my wife knowing how much I love them, and committing that time to them. You know, I don't, like, we all fear death, but that's my greatest fear, is like the grief that they will have if I'm gone, because I've seen that happen with my mom when my dad died. You know, like the stuff she went through when he left in a sudden way. Like that's what I fear the most. You know, because when you're dead, you're dead. You're not going to suffer. You're not going to, you know, be in a point of like, oh, I can't believe I died. You're worried about the people you leave behind, you know?
Yeah. Like, I've never doubted that my parents loved me, but they weren't the type of people to say it out loud.
Yeah.
And I tell my daughter all the time. I tell her all the time. And like sometimes she'll go, I love you too, Daddy. And then sometimes she wouldn't say anything, but I don't ever worry about it. I'm just telling you that you're important to me and I love you.
Yeah.
And then I try to show her as well. My parents showed me, but I try to tell her and show her.
Every girl has outgrown it. My youngest still adheres to it.
Oh, like your daughter doesn't want you to say I love you?
No, they'll say I love you back. But I will say to our youngest, I'll say I love you, and she'll say I love you more. And I'll say, I love you the most. And she'll say, I love you more than the most. And it's like a little game we play. And it was passed down from daughter to daughter. And now my middle child, I'll say, I love you. And she's like, I love you too. You know, it doesn't build.
Deuce. See you later.
It doesn't build, but our youngest she still holds true to it.
All right. So I think it's a good last question. What life experience has strengthened you the most?
Probably the death of my father.
Yeah.
I think I had to grow up pretty quick.
How old were you when he passed away?
I was 9, and it was a life-altering experience. And, you know, my mom kind of took my younger brother under her wing, you know, and kind of, because he was the baby. And I kind of developed, I think, a sense of independence after that occurred. Like I kind of, like, okay, I've got to do some stuff on my own.
She might need you to too, because she was tending to your brother. Yeah, she was
tending to him. You know, he didn't understand what was going on. I had full understanding of what occurred. I think it made me kind of more independent person. You know, and the great thing about it is I had some father figures that stepped in, like Jared's dad and some uncles and stuff that, you know, helped me with sports and things like that. But for the most part, you know, I had to take care of a lot of things around the house that my dad would take care of, that my mom needed. And I think that gave me a sense of independence and kind of growing up a little quicker than most kids.
Oh man. Yeah, it's kind of shitty when a kid gets thrown into unfortunate situation, and then how they have to respond to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't, I was very fortunate. My mom remarried, great guy, became a great father figure to me. I feel it for my brother. He never had a relationship with my dad. And then I think he kind of.
How old was he when he passed away? I
think he was 3 or 4. I was 9. He might have been, he was 3. He was 3. He was too young to know what happened. So he never really knew my dad. And he kind of stayed under the wing of my mom for years. But, I think, it affected the way I grew up, because my dad was very sports oriented and like very involved in sports. And so like when you talk about like you would do things for other people, I would do things because I thought like that's what my dad would want me to do. And I kind of want to make him proud.
Like when he was still alive,
when he was
or
still
after he passed away?
After he passed away, like I'm going to continue doing this because my dad, he would be proud of me for doing this, and that's when you kind of have to take a step back and be like, am I doing this for me or am I doing this for the memory of somebody, So I think that kind of made me at a young age have an epiphany of like, what do I want versus what am I living in the memory of somebody,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.